Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet, and today we are checking out chapters 72 and 73 of Tower of God Season 2, and we finally are getting into the workshop battles, and we had a bit of a free-for-all where we had lots of the different teams going into this first round all at the same time. Got a little bit chaotic. Goseng didn't really know what to do with what was going on, but it's okay because Teddy Bear came in to rescue her, and we love that, we really do. And then we got introduced to this mad dog character person who of course wants to fight Violet, because who doesn't at this point? So it looks like Bomb is going to have a contender when it comes to these matchups and things like that. Lots of little matchups happening. I think maybe my favorite one was the one Blitz family member versus Yin, because they both have those kind of fire abilities. So seeing those two go head to head with like very similar abilities but very different viewpoints on those abilities. You know, one being very much embracing the chaos of their abilities and the other one being fearful of the chaos of their abilities. So I liked seeing those two meeting and having those similarities yet differences on their viewpoint. But lots of little things happening in this. We also had some nice like Prince moments where he got to kind of come into his own again after not really being that confident in himself. So we'll see how that kind of continues as we go forward. We still have some kind of threads up in the air of things that are going on in the background, and it looks like in this chapter maybe we're going to be checking in with Hats, who was just like thrown into like a prison kind of situation and left there. So hope he's doing okay. But with that, let's get into these chapters and see where we're going with the workshop battles, because I'm so curious at this point. So it looks like we've got Hats. How are we doing? Okay, good to know. Casino not good at tying ropes. I feel like that's some info to store away for later, just in case someone else gets, you know, captured for whatever reason. I do wonder though if it was intentional in some way. Like, is it because they wanted Hats to get out eventually and they just needed to kind of have him out of the way long enough? I guess too, like the door, there's a locked door, so maybe it doesn't matter that much. You can ask Emily though? I don't know how I feel about that. There's lots of suspicious things going on with Emily and who that is. Yeah, maybe don't just like trust a program, even though it's like kind of not a program, but it's confusing. I feel like it says a lot of like people being reliant on Emily, like needing someone to help them out of certain situations, and because of that she gets information, right? Because Hats was saying the only reason he's in this situation is because he trusted Emily. And I've said before, is she giving information because she's legitimately trying her best to help someone, or because she's trying to maneuver them in a way that it benefits her, right? Like, does she want Hats in this situation so that he's reliant on her, there's no other option, and she can get information from him that way, right? Like, I really don't know where to fall on where Emily is, because I kind of feel bad because of the treatment, but I'm also suspicious of the intentions. Oh, cool, there's a little secret entrance. But where does it go, right? Again, is she trying to get him to a specific place at a specific time? I don't know. Is the necklace important? I feel like I keep noticing it. Am I supposed to know what Hats' necklace is? It's popped out to me a few times now that I'm just like, I feel like it's gonna be important. Yes, why under the bed with a handy ladder? Why is that? See, where are you trying to take me? See, Hats and I, similar wavelength of mistrusting, especially in the tower, right? Like, when do people ever just give you information to help you without any strings attached? I do like a meanwhile, you know, it's like maybe the comic fan in me that's been reading comics for a long time. There's just something about a meanwhile stamp that makes me a little bit giddy and nostalgic. Looks like some people are doing better than others. I like that whatever, like, let's just go with the flow. Yeah, some are hidden behind a mask. A couple, I guess. He seems a little bit upset, maybe. Are we shocked and Dorsey did okay? Look at the splatter on her bat, though. Dorsey's scary. Like, I kind of love her, but at the same time, I don't want to at any point be on her bad side. The cruel but beautiful princess. I agreed. Who are you? This looks a little bit too intense. Is his name Bathman? Okay. I had a conversation with some people in the comments of one of my Tower of God reactions about like the name spectrum. of Tower of God. It's like either something really intricate and has like a bunch of meanings in like the language that it's taken from and it's kind of epic sounding, or it's Bathman, and there's really no in between. Ooh, these are a little bit creepy. Yeah, yeah, they're a little bit cute, but it's kind of uncanny, freaking me out a little bit. Dollmaker freaks me out too. Who are you? Oh, is that Rock with a mask on? I like how I saw it and I was like, you seem kind of adorable, and then it clicked in my head. I'm like, I think it's Rock with a mask because Bomb's not supposed to know they're here. I like how just my radar went off. I knew that there was a Rock here somewhere. A little chibi Rock waiting for me to love him. Is he Red Hawk on account of the beak and the red outfit? Does he recognize him immediately? I love that. Me too. It was like a moment of like, hang on, and then, oh wait, no, that's our darling. I feel like I know only some of these. If we can go down the rabbit hole of names. Yeah, I'm like, is that a Michelle? Should I be concerned? Should I be on edge? I don't know anymore. He probably will take it easy, honestly. He's probably not gonna be trying that hard. I don't think he'll need to. I feel like something's gonna happen. It's just like the setup of like, I feel like there's gonna be a hiccup of some kind. Either there won't be anything and he'll just super quick go through this, or there's someone else that he's up against that's gonna give him trouble. Like a bunch of people who are Foog? That is not actually what I was thinking. I feel like he's not gonna like that. I feel like other people aren't gonna like that. Him be able to just walk through because he has backup. People want to see him fight, right? Because people have heard all of these legends about what his abilities are and what he can do. They're gonna want to see that. And I kind of get them not wanting to show that off because they want to keep as much of his abilities secret as they can. Bomb feels the same way. So that might be why they have people to like clear the way for him so that no one knows until like one of the intense battles where he actually needs to try. But still, I'd be booing in the crowd, you know? I'd be demanding my money back. Did they just choose? Maybe that happened too, where they were like, we are now Team Foog. I had someone in one of my comments too say that it's more like rhymes with bug. So instead of Foog, it's Fug, but like, that's like one slip up away from like my videos getting like age restricted, you know? So I'm just gonna stick with Foog. Know that I have been told and I've acknowledged, but I've chosen to stick with Foog. Yeah, I was like, they're fake believers. They don't have like approval. I mean, they might be like real believers. They might actually believe, but they're not members of Foog. You can't just like, I assume, call yourself a member, right? Like, I'm assuming you're gonna have to go through some hoops before you're allowed to be a member of Foog. Ah, that's true too. If you can just like follow him, it'd be a lot easier, right? Because you're expecting someone like a Slayer nominee to be able to clear through this really quickly. So it is advantageous to side with him, especially since some people might not want to go up against you if they think that you're a member of Foog, right? If they think they're gonna have to deal with Violet if they go up against you, they're not going to want to do it. Yeah, I'm like, that's what I said. I'm like, the others aren't going to want to attack if they think they're going to have to deal with Violet afterwards, right? Like, if you get through these guys, if you have to then deal with Violet, no one's going to do it. Unless, except for, like, the few people that actually want to fight Violet, then they probably will just go through. Why do I feel like that means that these guys are gonna die? Because we do have someone who like beheaded someone and wants to fight Violet, so I feel like their life expectancy isn't as good as they might think. He does get scary, yes, true. And that's what I was thinking. I'm like, I don't know if Bomb will like it because he likes to do things on his own and he doesn't want to feel like he has to protect other people. He tries to cut people out of his life a lot. And he also doesn't like fakes, right? He doesn't like people who fake and lie and try to navigate their way through in kind of an underhanded way. So he has the power to like just go after them now, right? Like, I feel like season 1 Bomb would have just been like disappointed and a little bit upset at people for like lying and trying to cheat their way through games, whereas like now, like, Violet will wipe the floor with you if he's mad. Yeah, I don't think their life expectancy is what they think it's gonna be siding with him. Yeah, he's not gonna have any problems anyway, except like maybe a couple. I feel like there's gotta be a couple people that are gonna give him a hard time. He really does not like people making him into some kind of god. It's also kind of creepy when it happens because I'm like, he's just Bomb. It's a good point though. It's like the whole fake believer thing, right? They're not actually people who believe in like the cause that Foog is forwarding or think that Bomb is actually someone worth supporting for the sake of like belief, right? Like we've had people before who like legitimately have this strong belief fueling their actions and actually see Bomb as their god, you know. And then if you have these people who don't actually feel that way, if Bomb isn't going to help them in some way, right, like help them through the workshop battles, these different rounds, if he's not a convenient tool for them, do they still care? Because that's the difference, right? It's whether or not you actually want to support him, whether or not that's in a like weird believer thing or like a friendship thing, or is it just convenient for you? And he doesn't like people who are fake. So this is not going to go well for you. We also have like the red in the background that makes me feel like there's gonna be some serious violence coming up. Look how tiny he is in frame too. Oof, look at him go though. Oh, that's a good shot with the kick. Dang, he went for the like neck too. That's a little bit heartless. This guy's face though. I mean, fair enough. Yeah, no, he's a little bit, he has some tyrant vibes. I like that we said take it easy. It's the first round. Calm down. Some people know there's more going on. Other people are just suspicious. People are cheering though. I was really wondering that when it was gonna be maybe that Bomb wasn't fighting. I'm like, you gotta win over the crowd though for an event like this where people are like putting in money and bets and things like that. I feel like it wouldn't have gone over well. But yeah, so it's people are putting together some pieces, you know? I do find it funny though that people are like, it's definitely Rock, even with his disguise, and it's not very good. And then now we just have Bomb like walking around and everyone's like, I don't know, kind of. Like, I just like that for some reason he's good at this. I think it's because like his demeanor is different. Like his aura has a different feeling to it, which is what's throwing people off. It's not just that he looks different, it's like he holds himself differently and he commands the room in a different way than he used to. Whereas like Rock's still the same little spitfire that he's always been. He just has a mask on. Let's see how Endorsi feels. Doesn't she still have that one guy just like locked up? There's just lots of people who are like randomly being captured and locked up at this point. She's investigating though. Yeah, you definitely don't want to go anywhere near Foog as a Princess of Jihad. That may cause some issues. Will he go to the party though? I can't imagine Bomb at a party. It just seems like something he wouldn't do unless he absolutely had to. You can even see like Bomb's little like smirk, like the three of them together just teaming up. I love it. I love that it's like a team up of convenience and yet their vibes just kind of work together. What groups are we in? Casino? Just like the I hope you fail, the animosity of it. I feel like telling him to stay put because no one's watching him means that he's definitely not going to stay put. Like he's unsupervised and I feel like he's going to take advantage of that. Or someone else is. We have a few people who would like to talk to him without a bunch of Foog members around. Speaking of people who are actual believers, I feel like him saying, I'm not going to make your wishes come true, is him trying to push people away from seeing him as a god. Because he has a little bit of bitterness, I feel like, after lots of things that have happened with being in the tower and wishes being granted and things. I feel like he doesn't want to just replace that system, right? He wants people to go after things on their own. And like, I think there's also some bitterness in that his one thing that he wanted to do was to help Rachel get her wish, and that didn't turn out great for him. So I feel like he's also in that place of like he doesn't really want to help people the way that he used to anymore. I also think it's interesting that he used to say that Rachel was like his star, and that was like kind of like, you know, like a North Star. It's different if you're in other parts of the world, but kind of that navigating star. But we also say you make a wish on a star, right? Like you see a star and you make a wish. That's also a big cultural thing, at least in my part of the world. You know, all of these things of wishes and trying to make wishes come true and desires and things like that, and people getting the things that they want from people that they see as gods, people that they see as like their whole world, or having the capability of giving them the whole world, and that being broken in a lot of cases. So I think it's very deliberate that that was the choice of phrase from Mom, of saying, I'm not going to make your wishes come true, don't make me your god. Like that's his mindset, because he hasn't seen a good side of that, right? Like he hasn't met someone where that has worked out. So I feel like he doesn't want to just step into this system that isn't working, step into this role that he sees as like this failing system of how everything is working. Yeah, he's definitely hiding some things. Why is there a mustache? Why are there glasses? Are we having like a Sherlock and Watson moment? What's happening? It's true, it's harder for them to control him, and there's lots of people gathering around who might recognize him. I feel like we didn't think this through with like hiding that Bomb is Violet. I feel like they thought it would be easier, and now he just keeps running into people who've known him. They're hiding something. There's lots of things going on in the background. There's so many strings being pulled. Yes, who is this person that we saw before when Bomb was fighting? Oh, okay. See, we get these dark, intense colors again, making me nervous. Oh yeah, he's wandering off. He's left unsupervised. Why would he stay here? Oh, we're looking on the rest of the rounds. Interesting. I mean, I honestly don't know. Novik's pretty good, but Cassino has quite a reputation. I feel like introducing the possibility of an unexpected dark horse means that there will be one. At some point, I'm like waiting for it. I'm waiting for someone else to shake things up. It's a good point. We do have a little bit of a gap when it comes to what Bomb is trying to do. I feel like he's just continuing to move because he doesn't know what else to do. Like, he's just continuing on this journey and letting people push him this way and that way because the alternative is facing the fact that he doesn't have anything, right? He doesn't have Rachel anymore. He doesn't have that navigating star. He doesn't have that thing that he was hyper focused on for so long. So what does he do now? And it's a lot easier for him to just let other people decide. And I think for a while he was okay with that because he was completely isolated from his life before. He didn't have anyone who had other like expectations of him that he felt any kind of compassion towards or friendship with. So it was okay to just let them push him whatever way that they wanted. But now he keeps running into people that he knows and that he cares about, and he feels himself pulled in all these different directions, and all of these people are trying to help him and find him and avenge him and things like that. He's seeing the ripple effects of his death earlier on, and now he can't just, like I said before, escape into this Violet persona. It's crossing over too much with who he actually is. But he's not Bomb anymore either. Like, people see him as who he was on, you know, the first set of the Hansung's floor. People see him as like, wasn't his floor, Evenkel's floor. People see him who he was then. He's not that person anymore. Or they see him as Violet. He's not actually that person either. He's somewhere in the middle. And I don't think he really knows who that person is yet. And a big part of that is he doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't know what he's doing, continuing to keep stepping forward, to keep competing and being in these tests and going up the tower. He doesn't really know. He's just what other people want him to be doing, and he's just going along with it because the alternative is facing who he is and his life and what's missing from it, which is, I'm sure, terrifying. Like, what do you do when you just have no direction? He has so much power and so much potential, and so many people who want things from him or want to support him and things like that. What do you do with all of that? Like, I don't know, it'd be so intimidating. I would like to know where Rachel is too, because it makes me nervous not knowing. I want to know where she is, what she's doing, and I want to rescue whoever's within too close of a proximity, because chances are they're not going to last very long. Lots of I kind of like that they're shadows. I know part of that might be just like a time constraint thing, but I like the idea that even though Bomb's walking through these places with all these other people, he doesn't like see them, right? They're just these like peripheral shadows, and he's kind of doing his own thing, and he kind of blends in, right? Like, there's very little to him. It's just like parts of him kind of standing out from these shadows, but not really, right? He is blending in a lot better with them, which makes it feel like he is also like not a person. He's just kind of this fixture in the scenery. Yeah, who's this person? Who are you? You're not gonna tell me? Who do we have left? Ran? Cassino? Ooh, okay, we're gonna see some points. We're gonna see where people are at. Okay, so Kun seems to be doing all right. He wants more points because he's tied. Shibitsu's also tied. We got this one these two coming in before. Ooh, and this one. Okay, so Shibitsu's kind of in the middle grounds. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. The excitement. Ooh, I love getting to see a rematch with Anak and Ran. Let's go. I love, like, they have so many similarities, I feel like. They just have like a similar vibe that something about them fighting against each other brings me pure serotonin. I don't know why. They're just tiny balls of rage. Look at that. Oh, I'm so excited. I want a rematch or a team up. I would love to see them actually team up together in some way. I don't know if that'll happen because, like I said, tiny balls of rage. But I can dream someday. Time to find out who's stronger. And Bet, who do you think is stronger? Who do I think is stronger? I don't know. I honestly don't know who's stronger. I feel like I want to say Anak because I feel like I've seen more of her abilities. And I feel like, I don't know, they're both pretty reckless. Like they're both, I feel like neither of them is very like strategy heavy and they have very similar abilities. And I don't know if I'm saying Anak just because I have a soft spot for her, you know, like I knew her first. So I'm kind of like leaning towards it. But on the other side, because like even though Anak is a princess of Jihad, she's not like an official princess of Jihad. Like she didn't go through the whole process like Endorsey. If she did, I might say her like definitely, because if she'd gone through all the things that Endorsey had, I would say Anak. But I feel Rand was trained by Khun, our Khun, so makes me lean a little bit more towards him from an abilities. I don't know. I really don't. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know, who do you think is gonna win? You probably already know because you've read ahead, but I would like an argument. I would like a proper argument for who you think is gonna win without giving me any spoilers, because I'm leaning towards Anak. That's kind of where I'm at. Of course there's a special, of course we're just throwing new things in, because when has the tower ever played fair? Ah, okay. They have to even it out. Oh, I was gonna say, is there like gonna be like an all or nothing kind of thing where it's, you can double your bet or whatever basically if you win? Nice. Okay, it's a specific number. Okay. Those are some determined facials. Some determined facial expressions. I had to like finish my word there. I feel like Shibitsu should do it. I know that it's like a huge bet, but like I said, he's kind of middle ground anyway. So the only way that he's going to win with the bets is going all in. Whereas I feel like Khun just wants to be super ahead, which I understand as someone who doesn't want to just win, but wants to win completely without a doubt and leave all of my competitors in the dust with like basically everything that I compete in. I'd go all in. Why not? You're either gonna tie with the other person or you're gonna win by a landslide. And I don't like ties. I want to win. I know you could also lose, but in my head, those are the only two options. I win or I tie because that's how competitive I am. I really liked getting some like introspection from Bam, because I feel like up to this point we had a lot of silence from him at the beginning of this season, and then things were just happening, right? Like he was running into old people from his life, he was getting this new team, he was just kind of going, and then we had all of the craziness that happened right before the workshop battles, where just like so many things were happening, and there's all these like other character plot lines that Bam was just kind of trying to keep things going, right? We didn't really get out time where he was settled enough to question what was going on. There was some time with Team Sweet and Sour that we kind of time skipped over, where he had kind of settled into like the rhythm of being in that group that we didn't really get to see, but I feel like it was also closed off, right? Because I feel like he doesn't really want to commit to having another friend group after everything that happened. I feel like he was still very closed off from that group, even though he had come to a certain point of fitting into it, right? So he's kind of pulled in all of these different directions, and now we're getting a point where he's really starting to think, what do I want? Who am I? Where am I going? Why am I doing this? Like he's asking all of these questions of it because he's gotten far enough from what happened that I feel like he can reflect a little bit more, because things are so much easier to like think your way out of when you have some perspective, right? Because things seem awful when you're in that moment. And believe me, he did go through some awful stuff, and he's had lots of awful stuff happen to him since. But it's much easier to actually assess something when you're not in it anymore. So I feel like he's gotten to this point where he's far enough from what happened with Rachel that he can possibly think about it. And I think that that's where he was at with, he was like, I'm just gonna try and find her, because he had that moment where he said he didn't know what he would do when he met her. Like he didn't know what would happen, like what his actions would be, what he would say, what he would do afterwards. He was just like, that is what I'm going to do, because that has always been what I've been trying to do in the tower, has been find Rachel. That's been his single goal this whole time. And I think he just kept it because he didn't know what else to do, right? Like he needed something to keep going. going. So he chose that. And then it was just him kind of letting Foog pull him whichever direction they needed to. And he was kind of dealing with things as they came up because there were lots of things coming up. And now he kind of has a moment where he can assess things and he's thinking about his role in all of it, right? Like seeing people who want to avenge his death, seeing people who are hurt by his existence as Violet, seeing people who want to worship him, whether or not that's just for their own benefit or because they legitimately believe in what he's going to be doing, but it's what Foog is going to be doing, right? Like it's not even truly what's motivating him. So these people who like worship him don't actually worship him. They worship this persona that Foog has put together, and he's just like the figure of it, right? Like he's just kind of fitting into that persona because he has to, or he feels like he has to. There's all of these things that I feel like Bam hasn't taken the time to really think about and reflect on, and now that he has a chance, you know, everything's kind of crumbling apart, right? Like he needs that mask of who Violet is, and it's all kind of coming apart at the seams. So I hope that that will kind of continue to evolve, especially as he keeps meeting people who knew him as Mom and not as Violet. That means that like they have their own perspective on who he is, and he's going to continue to be fractured in who he is, and we'll see how he ends up. I feel like it might all come to him seeing Rachel again. Like that might be the ultimate breaking point of all of this, where it's really gonna all come apart and he's going to rebuild himself as like neither Bam nor Violet. He's gonna be something else that hopefully is like his own making, like is his own person, isn't what other people have kind of influenced him and forced him into being. But I don't think he knows how to do that yet. He's still kind of having experiences, right? He doesn't have any memory before being in that like underground cavern prison thing with Rachel. So he's always had these influences of like other people kind of creating him, and he's just getting into this motion of like meeting people and having experiences and having his own thoughts and wants and things that he finds joy in that he doesn't find joy in, and he's kind of still going through that learning process. So we'll have to wait and see, but I hope you enjoyed reading that along with me. You can click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so you miss next time I post a Tower of God reaction, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!